This video explains how to compare the headers of two pandas data frames in the Python programming language. So without too much talk, let's dive into the Python code. As a very first step, we need to import the pandas library, as you can see in the first line of code. And then we also need to create two example data frames using the DataFrame constructor, as you can see in the second and third code boxes. So after running the lines of code in the second code box, a data frame called data1 is created, which contains 6 rows and the columns x1, x2, x3, x4 and x5. And after running the lines of code in the third code box, another data frame is created, which is called data2. And this data frame contains 5 rows and the columns x1, x2, x5 and x6. Now you can also see some differences between these two data frames. However, I want to show you a more structured way on how to compare the headers of these two data frames. So in the first example that I want to show you, I'm using the columns attribute and the intersection function. So I'm using the intersection function to compare the columns of the data frame data1 with the columns of the data frame data2. So after running this line of code, you can see that an output is returned below the code, and this output shows us the 3 column names that are existing in both data frames. So in this specific example, the column names x1, x2 and x5 are existing in both of our data frames. We can also apply the difference function to find the columns that are existing in only one of the data frames but not in the other data frame, as you can see in the 5th code snippet. So once again, I'm using the columns attribute of both data frames, and then I'm applying the difference function. And in this example, I'm setting the data frame data1 as first data frame and the data frame data2 as second data frame. And this line of code returns all the columns that are existing in the first data frame data1, but not in the second data frame data2. So in this specific example, the data frame columns x3 and x4 are existing only in the first data frame data1. We can switch those two data frame names, as you can see in the next line of code. So in this case, I'm using the data frame data2 as the first data frame and the data frame data1 as the second data frame. And for that reason, the output below shows the column names of the columns that are only existing in the second data frame, but not in the first data frame. So in this specific example, only the column x6 is existing in the second data frame, but not in the first data frame. That's all I wanted to explain in this video. In case you want to learn more on this topic, you may check out my homepage, statisticsglobe.com, because on my homepage I have recently published a tutorial in which I'm explaining the content of this video in some more detail. I will put a link to this tutorial into the description of the video, so you can find it there. If you have liked this video or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below. I'll try to respond to all comments as soon as I can. Furthermore, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified about future video releases. I have already published about 500 videos on this channel, and I'm releasing new videos on a daily basis. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next video.